Now, when it comes to fragrances to be thoroughly enjoyed in the summertime, there is one that has gotten a lot of praise throughout the past few years. It's none other than Neroli Portofino by Tom Ford. And of course, I love this one. As you can see, I've worn quite a bit of it. Here we have an inspiration by Dossier. This one is called Citrus Neroli. Given my familiarity with the original, the fact that I've worn it for many years, I was really interested in trying this one just so I can sort of compare it and see how close I think it actually comes to the original. So I have finally arrived at a verdict, and I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this fragrance, this inspiration, so make sure to stay tuned. Before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on Citrus Neroli by Dossier, I tell you how close I think it comes to the original Neroli Portofino by Tom Ford, and I also give you my thoughts on the smell, performance, longevity, how close I think it comes to the original. I do want to start things off by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon so you could be notified whenever I do upload these daily videos to YouTube. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or if you took something of value from today's episode. It would really mean a lot to me. So, of course, if you're not familiar with Neroli Portofino, of course, it's a burst of neroli, very bright, very citrusy, perfect for the summertime. Pretty much it's the only season that I can see myself wearing it in, unless you're wearing it, in the office, climate controlled environment. But the citrus is so perfectly suited for the hotter weather. And of course, people have been comparing it to 4711 by Maurer and Wirtz. And the notes for this include neroli, bergamot, mandarin, and lemon in the opening. In the heart, you have orange blossom, jasmine, and lavender. And then in the base, you have musks and amber. And this is concentrated at 18% strength, 18% concentration of aromatic compounds, which is a bit stronger than a lot of other dossiers that I've encountered. Some were 14, some were 16, if I'm remembering correctly. So, of course, with a DNA like this, citrus is very fleeting and ephemeral. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on the performance and the smell. Let's start things off with a quick look at the presentation. So of course, once you spray this fragrance on, you are going to get that big, juicy burst of neroli. Now, neroli is this very recognizable citrus ingredient, and I know a lot of my friends, especially those who grew up in a Latino or Hispanic American community, they say it kind of smells like para mi bebe, which is like the cologne splash that you put on your babies. And I own that splash as well, in addition to violetas, and I know what they're talking about. So this fragrance does have that bright citrusy component to it that I really, really love. And it's just so refreshing. It's such a wonderful smell, and it's something that is so exuberant and full of life, and it really wakes you up. And I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoy citrus fragrances in general. It's a spirit lifter and it's a mood enhancer, but it's not just the citrus in here. And that's one of the things that really aims to separate or differentiate Neroli Portofino by Tom Ford from 4711 or other fragrances having that DNA. It's the fact that it does have some weightier ingredients in here, specifically jasmine, lavender, musks, and amber. So the musks are used as fixatives, which means they increase the longevity, the duration, and the life of the fragrance. The amber ingredients here are more on the warm, balsamic side of things. There's nothing sweet in here, but you can tell there's some tenacity in the dry down. The jasmine is really clean. The lemon is in there, but it's secondary to the neroli. And I see this actually doesn't contain petitgrain, which is known as the poor man's neroli. If I said there are two citrus ingredients that really dominate the opening of this fragrance, it's definitely the neroli and the bergamot. Bergamot also comes from Italy. It has a very sort of a nondescript aroma to it. I mean, it doesn't have that bright piquancy of the lemon. It doesn't have the warmth of the orange. It's just kind of, I don't want to use the word generic, but I do think it's kind of nondescript. Neroli, however, is very bright, very vivacious, and also kind of squeaky clean. So I really love the interplay between the jasmine and the citrus, it's just done in a very animating way. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, it is so remarkably similar to Neroli Portofino by Tom Ford. And I say this as somebody who has worn Neroli Portofino for so many years. I love this collection. I have this one, Costa Azzurra, Mandarino di Amalfi, and Neroli Portofino is a classic, right? It's done so well for the brand. Here we have a fragrance that smells 95, 98% similar. I, really don't know how close of a percentage I can get to it because I haven't done a thorough lab analysis, nor do I have the equipment through which I can perform such a sophisticated and expensive lab analysis. But this is a very close iteration of the original. And all I have to say is if you want to save a sizable amount of cash, you want to go with the Dossier instead of the Tom Ford, just because with the Dossier, you're going to be saving quite literally a few $100s, right? For something quite comparable, strongly concentrated, pretty much the same ingredients. And I'm sure they're using high quality ingredients because it smells high quality. It smells very similar to the original. And I just hope you have the opportunity to try it for yourself. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, well, I certainly can't say it's unique because it is an inspiration of Neroli Portofino by Tom Ford, but the overall smell is incredibly pleasant. I can't really imagine somebody being offended by the way that this smells. Of course, there are people out there that, maybe they are not a fan of wearing citrus fragrances, but there's nothing offensive about the smell of bergamot or mandarin or lemon or neroli or even jasmine. These are very, amazingly beautiful natural ingredients. Longevity on this one is about 6 hours on my skin. So the longevity is not as great as some other Dossier fragrances because it is so citrus heavy. However, the musks do give it a really nice longevity as it starts to dry down. The projection was quite loud for the first 45 minutes of application, radiated beyond an arm's length. It became an elbow's length scent right around hour 4, a skin scent right around hour 6, 6.5, like I said before. In terms of the versatility, perfectly unisex, great for the summer. I think anybody of any age can really enjoy this one. And this for me comes across as more of a casual fragrance. Even those two other fragrances that I mentioned, like Mandarino di Amalfi, Costa Azzurra, those are perhaps a bit more formal than this. I've always associated this type of smell with just a casual, running errands, going about your day type of a smell. In terms of the presentation, quite minimalist as you can see, but it keeps the cost low. My final verdict on this fragrance is here you have a Neroli Portofino alternative that is 95% similar to the real thing. If I had to put some kind of a percentage on it, I hope you have the opportunity to go out there and try it for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you for your time and your attention. It really means a lot to me. That was Citrus Neroli by Dossier. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit the bell icon so you could be notified whenever I do upload these future videos to the channel. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and it signals the YouTube algorithm that you like this type of content. You'll see more of it in your feed. Thank you for watching. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.